No.
Okay.
No.
No. Welcome to the Flow Show. We're at Flow Studios, the Flow Aquarium, Lakeside today. Welcome. I'm very excited for today's Flow Show. Not only are we going to have a great conversation, as we always do, we're going to talk about living in an and world, an and perspective in an or world. So we'll dive into what that really means. But Sharon inspired this conversation today because we had so much fun singing last week.
Right.
And I've been just so wanting you guys to sing your original music. So today they're going to sing an original.
We are.
Which ties into our theme today, A Beautiful Shade of Grey. So we have Sarah here and
Tim here.
And I'm Sharon.
And so you guys just get to it.
We are.
You can hum along at home.
Say hello online. I'm here looking at the comments.
Walking along through the streets late at night, he sees her face haunting him in the light. Should he stay or go? He can't think about the choice anymore.
Fog creeping in, and his mind wanders back to ageless love and a bond that's too strong to crack. Where did the love go? That's all I wanna know. Is it trapped out there in the black and white? Then yes or no?
Alright, there is no middle ground.
There is no middle way.
When the walls get built, the black and white. Walking alone through the halls early one morning, she hears a bell as it rings out its warning. Are you ready to conform? If not, batten down, get ready for the storm.
We live our lives locked inside these walls. Most never know that the choice was up to us. 'Cause after all, where did the love go? That's all I want to know. 'Cause if it's trapped out there in the black and white, bring down the walls.
Return the light. There is a middle ground.
There is a middle way.
Love is the cure, and it's a beautiful shade of gray. A beautiful shade of gray.
Listen, babe.
Oh.
There we go.
All right. What a beautiful
Yay,
song.
beautiful shade of grayness.
Beautiful shade of gray. So who wrote that? Or did you
I
put
wrote
together?
it, and then Tim, I'm not as I sing and write more than I play. I'm a perfectly fine, perfectly competent rhythm guitarist, but I don't play guitar. The guitar doesn't have a voice, and I can't play the chords that Tim plays. So he kind of
so I make up other stuff and get it in there.
So it's a co-creation.
It's a co-creation.
Yes. So
the final product is a co-creation.
What inspired the lyrics?
I wrote that a long time ago when I was going through a phase of significant transformation, and it was my observation and my lived experience. I was observing people struggling with, like, do I do this or do I do that, and the emotional turmoil. And in many of those situations, I would think, well, why can't it sort of be a blend of both? I didn't see it as black and white. And then the second verse is very personal. Walking along through the halls early one morning, I was teaching at the time. I had moved from teaching at an environmental learning center with high school students to teaching grade 5 in a classroom. And in my second year, the principal gave me an ultimatum. I was not conforming. And the day I knew I had to leave that job was the day I said, and I'll never forget this, to the principal. So, wait, just to be clear, I want to make sure I understand you. You're saying that the actual results that my students achieved last year,
which were awesome,
through my they all improved on their scale of improving. So the actual outcomes, the actual improved results, are less important than how it looks. And he said, yes, exactly. Exactly. That's perfect. So now, over Thanksgiving, you go away. I want you to rework all your lesson plans and your long-term plan, which he had approved the previous May, and come back to me next week, and we'll keep working on this. And I resigned. So the next week, I resigned at the board level. I asked them not to inform him or anybody. And I waited 2 weeks and then told him I had resigned, and that was effective December 31st, and he would have to find a new teacher.
So it's just interesting because we have Thanksgiving. This is Thanksgiving weekend in Canada right now, so we're actually
Thanksgiving, Easter.
Oh, it's Easter! Jeepers! I got all excited there.
It's Easter too.
Yeah, you know how
It's Easter. It's spring.
Okay, never mind. That's why I play guitar.
Thanksgiving's in October.
Thanksgiving's in October.
Tim never knows what statutory holiday it is. Like, why do we have a day off? It would be July 1st. Oh, what's that? That would be Canada Day.
This is the
day
comical side of Tim.
Oh, why do we have a day off? It's Victoria
Christmas.
Day. It's Christmas.
That's Christmas. I get. That one I got kind of clear.
The only one you get. It's hilarious.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. So that's where so the second verse was because I really had to decide. He was very clear that, even though I used, anyway, it was a series of long conversations, and his perspective was so rigid, and he would say things to me like, you don't get any outside input from anyone. I've worked with every single consultant in the board on every single subject. Literally, I have the documents to prove it. Like, that's just not true. Yes. So his perspective, and his entire being lit up when I said, so basically, it's more important
results don't matter.
How it looks,
just how you look,
than the actual results that my student. And as a nice sort of postscript to that, and so I didn't tell anybody why I was resigning, because you can't really talk about those things when you are a teacher. So I just said it was for personal reasons. The class never knew why I left. It was very challenging for them. The last thing I said to them was, you're probably going to hear lots of things about why I'm not here. I want you to know that none of them are true, and it has absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with you. You are amazing. This is not about you. And so fast forward to just a few months ago, I finally looked at some message or something from someone whose name I didn't recognize, and I opened it up. She had sent it 6 months before, and she said, I'm so sorry to bother you, but I'm just wondering if you're the Miss Gilmore I had when I was in grade 5, because if you are, I just want to tell you what a difference you made in my life. She's 38 years old now.
Make me cry.
So, and then so I was like, she said, and now my name is this. It was that. I don't know if you remember any of us. And that first year I taught grade 5, I had been teaching for 6 or so years. They really taught me how to teach because he wasn't wrong. I was subversive. Instead of teaching, I did teach the social science curriculum because I was a licensed teacher and I followed the law in Ontario. However, I did kind of bury it in, or I used the leadership program that I had been teaching adults in the off season based on Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And I had to modify an adult program for 10 and 11-year-old minds and world experiences. So they really taught me what was underneath all that and what was driving it and how they were amazing. And they also were a very unique class. They were built in a unique way. So thank you, Katie. I know you're on Facebook and connected with me. I don't know if you know about the Flow Network. But if you see this, that is why I left.
Now she knows.
That is the previous year. That wasn't that class was in grade 6. That wasn't the class that I left. But that is why I left when I left. Because I just couldn't live in that world.
Yes. And you both have been, this is why we work together and we have something called Flow Network, because I think all of us have our own various stories of how we've, had to either stand up when something didn't align to our values, when we were made to fit in to something, and keep kind of as leaders going forward and changing these perspectives, these black and white perspectives that keep us kind of locked in patterns that serve us to a certain point, and then it's time to break free and move beyond them. And it's just a really powerful conversation to be having right now when the world can be very very polarized.
Very divisive.
Very polarized.
One might argue that it's the most polarized it's ever been, and
black and white,
and white.
It's black or white.
It's black or white. And if you're this, you're good, and if you're this, you're bad. And how do we kind of unify and harmonize as a collective to accept all of our perspectives, and at the same time stay open to saying, like, my perspective is right or wrong, and how can we stay open to constantly learning and growing and getting feedback from one another.
Well, sorry to cut you off. I was just sorry. It's as simple as just owning our philosophy and our perspective and our way of needing to live for us. And I remember when Terry and Marlene opened the restaurant and we were working there. Amazing food, award-winning chefs, again, a long time ago. And as I served food or people were trying to order, they would say, "Oh, what's the whatever meat?" I was vegetarian. I was vegan for a good chunk of it. And I said, "Oh, I'm a vegetarian. I haven't tasted that, but I can tell you every single time I've served that, 100% of the people have loved it. And, they're amazing chefs and blah, blah." And then I would get frequently asked, "Why are you vegetarian?" And my answer was always, because meat is better for me. It's just how I feel better. It's what my body needs. And I was so surprised to get so much feedback about, "Thank you so," or I would say, "Well, meat's just not good for me. I really struggle to digest it." And the number of times people would say, "Thank you for saying that." And at first I'd say, "For saying what?" That it's not good for you, as opposed to it's not good for all of us. And I said, "Well, I have no idea. How would I know what's good for you? Only you and your body knows what's good for you, or what you believe, or whatever philosophy." And so it's that difficult and that simple.
Yes.
It's just, this is how you want to live. And I don't, but I can respect the fact. I mean, I always feel like I have to say, I really don't believe it's okay for people to steal things from other people, or squash other people down, or physically attack them,
as long as
or just be constantly mean.
Yes.
That's not okay. But other than that,
go for it.
However you want to live, go for it.
Yeah.
I see it so much in business, and because science is the science that's used in business is very duality based. So you're using a science-based approach, therefore it's the perfect way, and you're going to guarantee you're going to get results every time until you don't. Then you have to actually change to another science approach versus seeing it as through the eyes of an artist, that it's a combination of whatever you want to call magic, as well as science, as well as good luck, as well as all kinds of things. And it's a fascinating thing when you start to really get in touch with that, which you helped me get in touch with a long time ago, and we now help people get in touch with it all the time. It's a fascinating thing that it's okay to be and look at the world and through your 100% subjective perspective, because in the end, it's all subjective. It's 100% subjective. My perspective of the world is mine. Yeah. Yours is yours, yours is yours. We can do what we can to actually get aligned, but we're always going to have our own unique to us perspective. And if in fact, to get along, I have to actually agree with you every time, and you every time, and you with me, that's just not...
It's very bland.
It's not going to work.
Very bland.
There's no innovation. And it's weak. Monocultures, I have an ecology background, monocultures are very, very, very weak. They don't survive.
Yeah.
In nature. We need diversity. So that if some pest or some predator or something moves in and it happens to be, just perfect conditions for them, they don't wipe out the whole ecosystem. Things will survive because they can tolerate it. Here's the thing that I have consistently found fascinating about that whole or perspective. When leaders in whatever, in my case early in my career in education and now in business, the number of books that have been written about, these amazing people, G.A. Lafley, hopefully I got his name right, was Procter & Gamble, and he really turned Procter & Gamble around. Yeah. He sounds like he truly was an amazing leader. And obviously their business results were spectacular. Yeah. So the results, proof is in the pudding. Well, and then Roger Martin wrote a book called The Opposable Mind, and he wrote some other books on this and thinking. And it was all about, as he interviewed him, saying, how are you doing this? And he starts by saying, I'm more of an and guy. I'm not really an or guy. And so when we have to look at, are we really focused on the chemical formulas, which was P&G's history, or is it about, he was thinking, well, why wouldn't we do both and put them together? And in education at the time, when I ran into this principal, the board I was working for, there was a woman named Barbara Coloroso, whose work is absolutely amazing in terms of psychology and educational psychology and children and bullying and all that stuff. And she was huge at the time. She had published a book that kind of went viral in the education world, and the board brought her from Colorado and paid for almost, I think, every teacher in the board to go listen to her speak. And when we left, my teaching assistant said, wow, that's what you do? I said, I know, I'm so excited. So I went and got her book and, got more conscious about it. So with in business, these leaders where people are saying, oh my God, you're just the best leader. But so they laud that, and here's this woman who rightfully so was getting all of this support and excitement, but because it didn't look like the old way, which wasn't working anymore, in real life, when you roll it out, it gets panned. It's like, no, because it wouldn't be that messy. It's absolutely, that's the whole point. It is messy. So I find that consistently, it never ceases to fascinate me.
Yeah.
Vicky says we all have our own point of view from our, our own life, built vantage points. And then in brackets, which, as us older folks know, changes constantly.
Constantly. You are quite right.
And then it's just always moving. It's gray, right? It's a beautiful shade of gray. Yes. It's just always moving from black and white.
If we're in the black or the white, we lose the ability to change because we start to identify with either the black or the white, and we lose the potential of being multicolored.
Well, it's interesting because the ego actually it loves the or, and it loves the black or the white, because it's now I can control everything.
It's just such a good feeling to know
I'm always right.
I know.
I'm 100% certain I'm right. And I'm calling that we have to go to the left over here. And over the hill we go. And then there's a whole bunch of other people that are not going. And so we've already talked about it. Go and get those people online or kill them all, if it's the case of in the ancient times. Yeah. So it's actually quite a fascinating journey we humans are on. So the polarization that's going on, I think, is a good sign that we're actually at a stage where we can't continue to polarize, but it's very obvious, or it's more obvious than it ever has been before, which is always a good opportunity for a crisis, which then provides the opportunity for an identity shift.
Right. I think just like you studied nature and that kind of thing. We're meant to live in harmony. So whatever isn't that, it's gonna shake you to that shade of gray to realize there is that space. And if you're not, if you're locked in one side or the other, it's just
and interesting. So
mental health, like just think of, I mean, again, the statistics, and I keep getting them in my inbox. Like mental health is just like when is somebody going to stop and look at this and say, hey, maybe the way we're orienting to life and the world and right and wrong and all that kind of stuff not working for everybody. And it seems that again we'll have or thinking, well, this is what we need to do more of, or needs to do more of this.
This is the right way and this is the wrong way.
Well, part of it is, your word of harmony. Truly, if you understand harmony when you're just looking at the natural world, the boreal forest is in harmony when there are raging wildfires. Because and for a long time, the conservation movement didn't understand the role of fire, and for about 100 years, the Ministry of Natural Resources or whoever in Canada had a no burn policy. And so then they realized, they put out all wildfires, and then they created, without realizing it or intending to, and they've changed this policy. They think about it, that there was just all this perfect, there's just wood, tinder lying everywhere, so lightning would strike or things would happen, and then you'd get this out of control, extremely unnatural, impossible to control
way bigger
fire.
Than it would have been.
Wildfires don't tend to burn 800 million kilometers at the same time. They jump. And then they also learned that there are things in the boreal forest that will not germinate. They can't open, they can't germinate, they can't reproduce if there is not fire. So harmony, we've interpreted as, I'm always comfortable.
I'm always flow.
Easy.
It's just easy, baby.
And it's not.
No, that's exactly what I was going to say. It looks chaotic, but there's actually an order in that chaos.
Well, there's a rhythm in there. There's a dance in there. Yes. If you actually care to actually engage with it, and if you stay separate from it, it just looks, oh my gosh, let's run away.
Or if you try and control it.
If you try, from the or perspective. I have to fix this because this.
I love the examples.
Sue says hello.
Hello, Sue.
Are you going to play a little outro for us today? We're already at our... Did anybody have any final closing remarks?
Well,
we'd love to hear about you. What does the and perspective mean to you in this or
and
world?
How you live it.
And how you live it. We'd love to hear from you because diversity is key.
Absolutely.
Well, we can do an outro, but I was just thinking to myself that fruit flies like bananas, but time flies like the wind.
Oh God, Tim. He's so old.
I know, but this
might not have been his first time he said that. Actually,
no way, you have to go back. Sarah has this phenomenal capacity. I think once it's been recorded, she goes back, she does the editing or whatever, and then it's on her memory forever. So I gotta figure out some more little kind of mind-bending things.
Expand your repertoire.
And I think possibly you're the same way. So all right. So if you've heard that before, I have no other ones. Well,
thank you for joining us, and
you.
We're still doing the Clubhouse chats on Tuesdays at 12:12 if you're on the Clubhouse. We had a deeper dive conversation about this and or on Tuesday, and we'll see you there for anyone who wants to join. Take us away.
'Cause it's trapped out there in black and white. Yes or no, wrong or right, there's no middle way, there's no middle ground, when the walls creep down on you, it's black or and white.
That was really strong.
Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next week.